корабль. Зачистили территорию от раптидонов. На каскаде полным-полно всякого противника на любой вкус и цвет. И здесь жукозавры и раптидоны, по крайней мере, мне попались аж 2 жукоматки на выходе с каскадии. Так что будьте готовы. То есть голеньким туда ходить не стоит. Тут и колоссы, и гиганты, и мелкой шушеры полно. Видите, сколько их? Их огромное количество просто. Вот примерно так вся дорога и проходила. Здесь, как мы видим, множество было охотников поживиться на чужом горе. Но всех сожрали местные, так скажем. То есть, тут как, конечно, не иди к этой канонерке, все равно придется с боем прорваться, поэтому вы бесите меня своими воплями, а? То есть хоть так все равно придется встретиться с местной фауной. Элли, ты куда? Простите, Макс, не знала, что вы собрались принять серную ванну. Так, вот еще этого друга мы не видели. То есть, видите, и кто-то был жив, пытался отстреливаться, но с мародерами и с раптидонами не сладили. Какой яркий, а? Совсем не милашечка.
Doubt there's anyone or anything alive in there to cause you any grief. Seems like I'd be more effective out here, watching for threats.
Me too. You know corpses shit themselves, right? Enjoy the smell.
Элли. Я всего лишь бедный контрабандист, поэтому... Ой. Что-то как-то меня шатает. Надеюсь, нет запаха. Целостность корпуса лучше не спрашивать. Так. То есть, понимаете, они в летающем гробу были. Понятно.
This is your chief engineer signing off for what is probably the last time. It's a shame you can't see this middle finger I'm holding up, because I'm doing it as hard as I can.
Да. Так. Где этот модуль, шмодуль? Ой. Ой, шатат меня. А может быть, это вся эта конструкция шатается. Да, что ж такое? Да, мне явно нехорошо тут. Ой, простите. Так. Элли. Не ожидала такого малодушия от тебя. Так, пошли. На выход. Тут больше ничего интересного нет. Нет, к сожалению, все неактивное. И очень все грустно. Они все погибли. Мы могли их спасти, но то ли квест недоработан, повторюсь, то ли я что-то очень так крупно упустила. Так, ну что, какие у нас варианты? Отменяют эту надпись. У них еще есть шанс нормально сесть, он меня просто убивает. Так, давайте, наверное, поговорим с Зорой. Она говорила, что у нее есть разговор для нас, но чуть-чуть попозже.
Got any more of those drugs, Vicar?
I do not. Probably for the best. They can lead to insanity as easily as enlightenment.
Do I have to use the prison name? What do you call them in the clink? Candy? Papers?
Drugs. And still no.
What if I trade you some cigarettes?
Элли, ты нахалка. Так, я не вижу Зоры. Она мне очень сильно нужна. Вот она.
Captain, we should chat. Graham's got the right idea, but he isn't the right guy to execute it. I don't even think he's motivated by philosophism anymore. I think he's just guilt-ridden. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I keep going over and over it in my head, and the only way I see the iconoclast surviving is we depose him.
Я согласна.
Okay. Deep breaths. This is what's best, Zora. Time to save Monarch.
Ну, хотя бы ваших людей, Зора, не надо громких слов.
Captain, you must be back with the access codes to our new ship.
Graham, we need to talk.
We have work to do. This isn't the time for one of our spats. What? Zora?
You're running the iconoclast into the ground, and I don't believe it'll get better after we take Stellar Bay. The troops take orders from me already, and you've brought me as far as you can down the eternal path. It's time to step down.
The troops. Listen to you. This isn't an army. They aren't soldiers. They're believers. Followers. They pick up a gun because you tell them to, not because they want to. And you, Captain, after all you've done for me, for us, you throw behind this mutinous blasphemer?
Ты устроил резню.
I built this movement from the ground up. I've brought freedom to Monarch, and all these years later, we're still free.
I joined because I believed that you were in it for the iconoclasts. That you wanted nothing more than to bring freedom to Halcyon. That you were selfless. But I know the truth now, Gрэм. I know what happened in Ember-Hайтс. You didn't start this movement because you wanted to save us. You wanted to save yourself.
No. I've spent years atoning for my sins. I've studied, meditated, taught. I built the iconoclasts so that any man could cast away his past for a fresh start.
Так себе.
That's your answer, Gрэм? You needed a fresh start? After all those innocent lives? I'm sorry. I believed in you once. I did. But it's over. Stand down.
I won't. What happened back then was a mistake, and the colony has moved on. This is my movement. These are my people. If you want to lead them, you'll have to kill me.
О боже.
Yeah, I had hoped. Please, don't make me do this, Gрэм.
If this is where my path ends, I accept it. But as long as I draw breath, I will not abandon them.
So be it.
Oh, good.
О боже. Да ты что? Какая там репутация? Боже мой, я убила Грэма. Да, он идеалист и болтун.
Well, Captain, here we are. Killed a lot of people in the name of the iconoclasts, and it never feels right. But this time it's especially wrong. You got the...
Неприятно.
Void held me. I'll never remember what that thing is called. The device from the ship. Do you have it? I've thought about it, but I think we're too far gone. Pulling Carlotta's support was crossing a line. You know, Captain, I never thought about that. Maybe he could be taught the eternal truth. Spread the message from within the corporations. All right. If he's willing to talk, I'll give him a chance.
Так, все, пошли. Речь идет все о том же, о чем мы говорили на Терре 2. Люди должны объединяться. Город и эти анархисты. Иначе им не выжить. Где-то в более или менее облагороженных условиях может быть, но не в колонии, где ты погибнешь. Ступи не в ту сторону. Так. Идемте говорить с Санжаром. Привет, мистер Болтун.
If the iconoclasts reach that ship first, there won't be any chance for a peaceful monarch. I don't suppose you've found the targeting module yet? I've sent patrols, but they're running into trouble with the iconoclasts. That's surprising. The board's equipment is usually in top shape. After all, they have first access to any fresh parts or components.
Agreed. This is mysterious, to say the least.
A conspiracy? You've spent too much time around Gрэм. Well, because the module controls the weapons systems. Because once we mount them on Stellar Bay's walls, no Marauder or Raptidon will ever be a threat to us again. Stellar Bay will be as secure as any other settlement in Halcyon.
Don't worry. We'll send an engineering team for those later. We'll have to disconnect them from the rest of the ship.
Of course, they'll be useless without that targeting module, which is why it's critical that you retrieve it.
Which is also why we can't let the Iconoclasts get them.
Can you imagine what those maniacs would do with weapons like that? They'd wreak havoc.
Or they go and get themselves killed. Then they're not your problem anymore.
The board would consider us complicit in any of their folly. That would only get us ousted again.
And roll back all the progress we've made at reconciling with the rest of Halcyon.
Oh, I've known their ilk long enough. Even if they merely sat on the scraps, the threat of a bunch of anarchists holding a gunship would bring the full wrath of the board down on Monarch. We can't afford that.
Threaten the system's order and you call down the wrath of the universe. Or in this case, the board's. Which in this colony is pretty much the same thing.
Oh, you see our quandary then.
Так, довольно они.
Good, because we haven't a moment to lose.
Мгм.
They're all mad! And what's more, they left us! I don't see any way for us to work together. This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career.
Remember what we practiced, sir.
Yes. The words in those reviews were very hurtful, but they do not define me. I am a mantipillar, and my will is my cocoon. I can emerge and become whatever I wish. You too?
She has a point, sir. And it's not all bad.
Supposing you're right, who exactly would you have me work with? The Iconoclasts are not the most compromising sorts. That's an interesting suggestion. I confess I don't know much about her except that she worked for Rizzo. I'd be willing to consider it, but I need to see her review first.
Это у меня есть. В Каскаде, кстати, следует обшаривать вот любой доступный угол, потому что там находится и тайная комната под мостом. Будьте готовы к любым неожиданностям там, кстати. И вот как раз вы найдете там характеристику Зоры.
Very well. I can't promise anything, but let's see what we have here. Well, it seems like she's actually very qualified. All right. I'll have Celia organize a meeting in neutral territory, the old OSI church in the ruins. Meet us there, and we'll discuss terms.
Ох. Ну что, пошли гладить шнурки для этой великолепной встречи. Так. Ну и вот, кстати, по-моему, Себастьян может нам дать еще один мини-квест.
You look like a woman who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts.
Насчет мистера Пикета.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Mantiqueens, especially.
Мистер Пикет прибыл с Терры-2, и вот там, где был музей, не хватало как раз чучела жукоматки. Вот он и отправился сюда.
Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett, but I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him. Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal?
Да.
All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here.
and head past the abandoned ruins. Last Mannequin I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there, too.
Будем надеяться. Так, у нас по-прежнему... Да. Пойдемте попробуем потолковать со всеми этими товарищами. Надеюсь, что хватит нам терпения, выдержки и времени. Господи. Все эти разговоры. Хотя, с другой стороны, лучше уж разговоры, чем трах-бабах. Никого нет? Нет, на сей раз никого нет. Видимо, тут эта философствующая банда прошла и всех бандитов и прочих поотстреливала. Вот и они, смотрите-ка. Представитель одной, так скажем, диаспоры и другой. Хотя и те находятся практически в одинаковых условиях. Ой, здрасте.
Hey, thanks for coming.
I wish I'd had more time to prepare a proper analysis on the costs and benefits of your proposed union, but I suppose we'll have to improvise.
Gotta admit, I really thought I was walking into a trap here. I'm ready.
Get the feeling this is gonna take a while.
Sanjara, Stellar Bay's got food and walls. And my people need both. If you'll have us, we're willing to share the space.
Do you have any idea what that would cost? Why, drawing up the budget alone is going to take weeks.
Not good enough. I need to move a fair amount of my people into the city. We need shelter, Captain. Suppose some of our healthier folk could offer aid. Some of us need to stay in the city proper, though.
I don't see why that couldn't be accommodated.
Truly, a compromise? I'm not sure I'd ever have heard as much from Graham.
Graham was a murderous fiend, and I'd be shocked if you didn't already know that.
This feels like one of those times when everyone at headquarters but me is laughing at something, but you two aren't laughing.
Потому что это не смешно.
Эмбер-Хайтс, you haulhead. 10 years ago, Graham had all those people killed.
What? That's not possible. Even for him, that's going too far. But that means... I had no idea, I swear. Look, we were both fed up with corporate leadership, but I never guessed he'd do something like that.
The innocent of heart are often blind to the guilt in others.
You can't take bureaucrats at their word. You back someone into a corner like this, and they'll say anything to get out of it.
Very well. I suppose my ignorance is no excuse. I knew Graham for years. I should have done my due diligence and known exactly who I was working with. Surely you know what that's like.
Yeah, I do. Okay, if you're willing to house and supply some of us, I'll have our more capable soldiers help out.
As am I. Oh, I can feel my blood pressure lowering already.
Thanks for coming out, Sanjara. Guess I'll see you at Stellar Bay.
Ура!
50-bit says they kill each other before the week's out.
Элли, ты, как всегда, замечательная. Обожаю эту девчонку.
Things on Monarch have really cooled off. I didn't think MSI and the Iconoclast would ever talk. Outside of shouting 4-letter words, I mean.
Но они еще все весьма могут взяться за старое, о чем ты говорила чуть раньше.
That's the option I'd bet on. Sure, maybe they'll have a good cry first. Look through old photographs over a pint of premium double chocolate cacao gelato. But sooner or later, things will go back to the way they were. People don't change. Not really.
Кому ты это говоришь? Ни одна из этих реплик на мою реакцию не похожа, но это не мой настрой, это слишком агрессивно, это издевательски.
Just being realistic. As long as they keep their business on Monarch, their situation's got nothing to do with me. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure you weren't too invested in this thing between them lasting. I never do.
Вот
Anything
хорошо.
else?
Неважно, пошли. Вот это мне гораздо больше нравится. Люди. Чтобы вокруг были люди, чтобы планеты были живыми, а не памятниками самими себе. Здесь должны быть люди. Даже такая неблагоприятная планета должна жить и процветать. Так, что же нас ждет дальше? Финиас. Нет уж. Фигушки. Так. Пожалуй, мы с вами попробуем слазить туда, но сначала мы наконец-то познакомимся с Лилией Хаген на первопроходце. Я пройду вот этот квест за кадром, потому что он опять же связан с брожением по пустошам и схватками с этими жукозаврами и всем прочим. Судя по всему, с жукоматкой точно придется схватиться. И это не слишком интересно. Поэтому вернусь, когда мы познакомимся с главой субсвета Утиль и будем готовы начать один из их квестов.